up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Summer House Martha's Vineyard. This is season 1, episode 7. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So before we get into this review, I just want to like a disclaimer. Bear with me. It is thundering where I'm at, so I don't think it will pick it up with my mic. But if it does, that's the rumbling you hear in the back. But let's get into this episode. So the episode opens up and Shanice is on the balcony and she's like, wait, you guys, don't toast her without me. And she's out there with her titties and everyone's like, really, girl? Really? Silas is trying to act like he don't see it. Jasmine is upset. Jordan is like, oh, okay. Alex is like, really? Like no one likes it. It seems like everyone's just kind of like, for real. For real. And I think the issue is because they've all seen Shanice naked at this point, that her constantly showing her titties does nothing for them anymore. Like when she walked into Preston's room when Amir was in there, because they all have to share the bathroom with nothing but her, like, I guess, swim bottoms on with her titties out, asking about the shower. They chuckled and laughed it off. The episode before where she was drunk and naked, everyone was kind of okay with it because most of the women were drunk, so no one really cared that much. But now you're doing it again. And it's like, it's not funny anymore. It's actually starting to get offensive, and you was pretty much being petty, and I think I can bet you money that if Bria was out, I think Shanice did that because she thought Bria was going to be out there. And she did it. She's talking about she did it as a joke. But what would be the joke? Because nobody else in the house had an issue with you having your titties out. No one even came and reprimanded you or even pulled you aside to have a conversation. The only person that did that was Bria, because we later find on that they had a conversation 3 hours before the rosé party. So you did that to be spiteful to your friend. And although I don't like Bria, that would have had me cuss you all the way out, because don't play with me. Don't, because now you're trying to test me. So they're all sitting down to like start, making their plates because their food is there. We see Simon make Bria a plate. So he takes it up to the room because Bria is like, I need a mental health day. And so we find out that, again, Bria and Shanice had a conversation before the rosé party where Bria is like, Shanice, like, we friends. Like, I know how you are. Why would you do that in front of my man? And Shanice immediately is like, I'm sorry. Like, it's very a flippant sorry. It's not like a genuine, like, I apologize for the way that my actions may have hurt you kind of sorry. And my thing about it, like I told y'all, that girl give me rainbows and poison. What that ex says she did it. I don't care what nobody say. She did what that man said she did, because she giving real, I don't know, boundaries. I gleefully walk over people's boundaries. That is what Shanice gives. So Simon brings Bria a plate, like the plate that he made for her. And he's telling her, he like, baby, she was out there with her titties again on the balcony in front of everybody. And Bria's like, really? And now Bria feels vindicated because she's like, I told y'all to check her, but y'all ain't check her and see what happened. Now your husband seen her titties. So they all are like toasting. Jordan is in her feelings about Alex calling her thick, which makes me feel like, girl, what kind of black girl are you? Because if a man called me thick, you don't know, because I'm going to be like, thick, I think in the black community, thick is a compliment to us. Like, girl, that means you got the fat in all the right places, like that the yams is yamming. But she's taking offense to it. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? I feel like she's making an issue out of nothing. Because I was like, it was a joke. Everyone got the joke. And I get it. Like, people are not, what's the word? People don't have to accept your jokes. People don't. But I was like, I don't think he meant it in malice. I would have took it as a compliment. Like, you see the way I be doing these squats? Thank you. Okay? The booty is bootying. So they sit down. Shanice finally makes it out there. And everyone's like, girl, what was that? She was like, I just did it as a joke, because Jason is like, was that supposed to be like a F you to us? And that's why I'm like, it didn't make sense why she went out there, because it's like you did it, but now you got everyone at the table like, what's up? Because no one reprimanded you. No one even said anything to you. But she's like, no, I thought it was a joke. Like, it was just a joke. I was trying to be a joke. Like, it's just a jokey joke. And everyone's like, oh, okay. So now Shanice is in the confessional or the truth room or the truth booth. And she's like, everybody just needs to lighten up. She flashes the camera again. And it's something to be said with the way she's portraying herself. I just like, it's the thing about it is like, yes, it's attention seeking, but there's a lack of like care for your own self. Like, there's nothing wrong with being like free and like, you know, comfortable in your own skin. But the way Shanice does it makes me feel like, girl, what has happened? Because you doing it with no regard or respect to other people's boundaries, and that's not okay. It's just not. So Shanice finally sits down, and Preston, I think, asked Shanice, like, do you oftentimes feel judged? And Shanice was like, well, yeah, I'm just someone that likes to have a good time. Where, you know, it's vacation, it's the summer. I just want to have a good time. And then Jasmine speaks up with her annoying self, and she's like, well, that's just kind of like, oh, I get what you mean, like how Alex Googled you. So everyone else at the table is like, what? Like Summer and Jason are like, what? Because they don't know what's going on. And Jordan tells Jasmine, well, they didn't have a private conversation, so I don't think we should bring this up at the table. But then you have the people that don't know what's going on, like Summer and Jason being like, yo, fill us in. So Alex is like, what's wrong with me Googling y'all? So then Summer is like, she don't like that. Jason is like, well, maybe you should ask the person first. And then Nick is like, I Google everybody. People crazy. And I'm with Nick. Y'all don't know each other. If I'm going to be in a house living with people, I'm going to stalk your Instagram. And if I type your name in Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, or any other social media, or I Google you and you pop up on somebody's list, I need to know about it. I don't want to sleep in the house with a killer. Like, what are we talking about? So everyone's trying to paint Alex like he did something so egregious, but I'm like, wasn't the initial story that somebody sent Alex this like the article? So I'm like, if someone sent Alex the article, then he didn't actively Google y'all. But if he did Google and that's the article that popped up, then it is what it is. Like, Shanice, it is what it is. So Alex gets real frustrated because Jordan is getting aggressive. Jordan has a tendency, and now it makes sense why that other situation didn't work out for her, and that man could have been trashed, but you don't know how to communicate to people. Because she starts really getting very, like, antagonistic with him, where she's, like, raising her voice with Alex. Alex is trying to speak, and he's trying to, like, speak up for himself. She's cutting him off, and she's like, let me speak, Alex. And then when she stops talking, Alex is like, are you done? And then Jordan's like, well, I stopped speaking. I would have cussed her out. I would have cussed her out. I'd have cussed her out so quick. So quick. And I only think she's being that way because of the thick joke. I think that really offended her, which is her right to be offended. But like, the energy that she's giving Alex in this moment is weird, because it's like, girl, why are you making Shanice's issue your issue? Shanice wasn't even that mad about it. So Alex is like, you know what? I don't feel safe having this conversation. And everyone's like, no. Silas is trying to speak up for Alex, because Silas is like, y'all trying to make it seem like he was the only one talking about this, and we all were talking about this. And so Alex is like, you know what? I'm a leave right now. So he gets up and leave. And so Jason is like, I feel bad because, like, oftentimes when people make mistakes, they feel like they're being villainized. And Jason was like, this doesn't make me think Alex is a bad person. And I'm glad Alex said something. Preston pissed me off when Preston was like, well, the only reason I know about it is because of Alex. And I'm like, Preston, who is normally very level-headed, I'm like, you can't see how the lady sitting beside you is tripping, and how if anybody else in this house read that article about someone being an alleged stalker, everyone's like, I would be like, okay, girl, what happened? And then when Alex comes and sits back down at the table, they do a flashback scene where we see this conversation that has happened with Amir, Preston, Bria, Nick, Silas, and Alex. So Alex sits down and he's like, y'all are trying to act like I was just bringing this up and I've been talking about. I bring it up one time. We had a conversation and I even said she should advocate for herself because now she has the platform to speak about it and her friends are here. So then Shanice is like, well, I've grown. That happened when I was 28. Girl, 28, you're an adult. People can grow, but she said like 28, like she was gonna say, oh, I was 21 when it happened. I was like, you kind of don't get no pass. You're a grown adult right at that point. So Alex sits down at the table. Amir pretty much lays it out on the table. Jasmine brought it up. Y'all, it wasn't a conversation that needed to be brought up at the table. It then in turn made everyone question Alex. And then everyone pretty much like dogpiled on him, so he didn't feel comfortable having this conversation. But I was glad that Alex didn't apologize for nothing, because they were like, don't you think you should apologize? And Alex was like, for what? Because I ain't do nothing. I said, that's the type of energy I would be on. Because if I know I didn't do nothing wrong, I'm not apologizing. Like, he had like the whole, like, it's just like, it just didn't make any sense. Like, they want so bad for people not to judge Shanice, which no one likes to be judged. But if there's an article out there about you, of course people are going to have the prejudgments about you. Especially if it lays it out that you were the one that was in the wrong. You could sit down and have a conversation with somebody, but Alex hasn't brought up the article but one episode, and it's been that on that. To me, I think the girls are making it more than what it is, because it's not like he's been like ostracizing her. He's been having conversations with her. I just think they wanted to have a moment, specifically Jordan. And Jasmine need to shut up and worry about that bald-headed demon of a husband. So Jordan's meltdown, that just shows she got deep-seated issues that she needed to work on. So the rose party is over and everyone is scattered throughout the house, like, you know, chilling and just hanging out. And we have an aerial shot or a scene of Alex sitting in a chair, and then on the couch you have Shanice, Preston, and Jordan. Jordan's laying on Preston, and Alex makes the joke where he was like, you talking about celibacy, but you be in Preston's room all the time. And Alex is joking. Everyone laughs at it. Like, everyone got the joke except Jordan. And I feel like Jordan was holding on to the whole thick comment because she didn't like that. So Preston is like, leave my wife alone. And then she's like, you know what, Alex, I've never made fun of your veganism. And, you know, I didn't even make fun of when we found out or judged you when we found out you be drinking. And, you know, I've been celibate and I've taken this celibacy thing very seriously. And I haven't had any dicks this summer. But you, on the other hand, been drinking all summer. And Alex is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It was a joke, and no, I haven't been drinking all summer. And she was like, I get that it's a joke, but why is my celibacy a joke? Because it's not a joke, because I take it real serious. So everyone's kind of looking at Jordan like, girl, why are you getting amped? Like, you're getting amped. Like, we just started. Why are you getting amped? So Shanice looking at her crazy, and so is Preston. So Jordan leans up and she starts to lay into Alex, where she's like, you have sexualized me more than once, Alex. And Alex is like, me? I've sexualized you? So they do the flashback. We have this scene in the pool house when they were blowing up the inflatables, and he made the inserting joke. Then it's the joke where he was like, y'all not making enough sexual noises when they were playing tennis. And then the last one was of the thick comment. So in that regard, if she felt like that was sexualization, then that's, or objectification, then she's allowed to feel that way. So she's like, yeah, Alex. So then Amir walks in because he's confused as to what's going on. So he sits down and he's trying to like speak up for Alex. And she was looking at Amir like, I got smoke for you too. And Amir's like, what did I do? So everyone's starting to hear Jordan raise her voice. So everyone that was scattered around the house is now like in the den area in the front of the house to figure out what's going on. So she tells so she's like, yeah, you sexualized me too, Amir. And Amir's like, I have? She's like, yeah, what Alex told me. So she brings up Alex telling her about how Amir was like, about how Amir called dibs on Jordan when they got into the house. And Amir's like, well, I didn't tell anybody not to speak to you. I told everyone that I liked you and I expressed interest in you. I have not stopped anybody from getting to know you. And so Nick is like, hey, like, I think like what he's saying is true, because like me and you have talked about different things like your family, fashion, and like our careers. Like, I think I've gotten to know you a lot better. So I don't think everyone's doing what you think they doing. So she's like, you know what? I just want like, I think she was trying to say, she was like, I give and I give, but I don't get anything like in return. I'm left with nothing. She was like, you know, I may have taken those pictures for Playboy, but that's not just who I am. Like, pretty much Jordan is ashamed of doing Playboy. That's what it sounded like to me, that she is ashamed of the persona that she put out there. And she is like, she has probably faced certain consequences for putting herself out there that have been traumatizing and have probably reflected very negatively towards her. And she probably did this act of celibacy in order to like begin the healing process, or to change the perception of who she is to the outside world. So she's going off. Amir gets up and leaves. He go outside to sit on the beach, and he calls his friend, and he's like, bro, I just got my ass handed to me just for telling someone that I have interest in them. Just for telling them that like I like them. I just got my ass handed to me. And his friend had me dying, because a friend on the phone said something I would say. I'd have been like, F them too. He said, F them. And I said, yeah, I would have said it too. He was like, take a deep breath. Like, you about to come home anyway, because the trip is almost over. Because I think the episode opened up and then we were on day 11, and it's day 11 out of 15 days. So his friend is like, don't trip, it's almost over. So he's just like, wow, like I just expressed interest and you go off on me like that. So she going off, everyone's hugging on her, because you see Jasmine hugging on her head and telling her like, you know, we got you, we love you. Alex comes and hugs her too and says, I'm sorry that like I've made you feel that way, because that wasn't the case. So Amir finally comes back into the house. Everything is winding down. They're in the kitchen, and you see Silas and Jordan in the kitchen. And Amir walks in and he's cleaning up, and Silas is like, at some point, y'all gonna have to talk about this. And Jordan is like, I feel like I've talked enough. So then Silas is like, well, let me play devil's advocate, where you have a guy that's interested in you. He hasn't objectified you or sexualized you. He just expressed interest in you. And so Amir, who like leaves the kitchen to go sit in the couch area, he's like, and he hears you. And he understands that what just happened wasn't about him. It was about a myriad of things. So then Jordan was like, well, if you understand, why did you leave? And I'm looking at Jordan like, no one's just going to sit there and allow you to cuss them out without one, either cussing you out back or leaving the situation so they can compose themselves. You were having a straight up meltdown, and you weren't trying to hear them. Because that's one thing I don't like about Jordan, is every time someone tries to speak when she's speaking, or tries to like actually have a conversation with her, she cuts them off, and then she starts to raise her voice an octave to get them to shut up. Because he's like, I hear you. And she was about to do it again, but Amir like readily, like he was ready to apologize, because he was like, all I want to do is be there for you and protect you. I don't want none of this. Like, I don't want any of this. He was like, I will back off. And so she tries to give him an awkward hug, but they end up hugging and moving on from the situation. So it's the next day, and it is time for Preston to host his night of festivities, and he chooses to have a pride night. I actually enjoyed the party. I like the fact that it was Black people actually supporting a Black queer person, and everyone seemed to really be receptive to learning about the history of how Pride started. Like he said, I never knew it started by a riot, but I do know it was started by two trans women of color, one Black, and I think they said the other lady was Puerto Rican. But I just thought it was nice. I thought it was really nice that everyone was participating. They had the men go and do makeup a dance. They are so uncoordinated, but I was happy that everyone respected Preston and allowed him to have his night, and it looked like a fun time. The next scene we see is everybody winding down from Preston's pride party, and we have like a heartwarming scene between Bria and Simon, where Simon pretty much says he feels like these people are his friends. I can tolerate Simon. You could give me Simon and let Bria go, and Simon bring Milo. Because Simon seems to be pretty chill. Like, he doesn't get into nobody's business. He kind of just plays the, like, back to the cast, which he should be because he's not a part of it. But he seems pretty chill. So he's like, I feel like these people are my friends. I do feel like I hope Bria know how to speak German. Like, if he can speak English, you should be learning how to speak German. You live in Germany. So you should be learning how to speak the language there. So we see a scene with Jasmine and Silas, and they're in their bedroom. Jasmine look like she about to pass out. She's laying in bed, sleep, and half sleep. And Silas is like, I think we need to have a talk. And she's like, about what? And he's like, about my pants. And she was like, why are we gonna talk about that? Why is that important? He was like, because I don't think you understand why I'm mad that you messed up my pants. And then Jasmine was like, it's so easy for you to always tell me when I mess up stuff. Like, really, bro? And he's like, well, you don't know how to effing iron. So then Jasmine is like, I don't know why you talking to me like that, but if I open this door, I'm gonna let everybody know how you disrespecting me right now. So I'm like, dude, you don't want a wife, you want a maid. You want a maid, and if you want to get sexual favors, go pay for it with a sex worker. Because you don't treat someone who is supposed to be like your partner like a subordinate. And that's how Silas treats Jasmine. Because I'm like, bro, it's not like it's like your army uniform or your military uniform. I would get that. Like, my parents, I'm an army brat. So I would get how important that you don't want to get those messed up because those things cost a lot. But if it's just some basic jeans or some basic pants, like, if it's that deep where you're stressed about her messing up your pants, iron them yourself, you milk-dutted headed ass dick. Like, he is such a dickwad. And I don't understand if he doesn't see that, because I'm, you know, you don't want to write people off because we don't really know these people. But I'm hoping that if he I hope he's sitting down watching how much of a asshole he's been to Jasmine, because it's like, y'all have only been married for a year and you already giving this type of energy. I would be at the courthouse getting this marriage annulled faster than this, because ain't no way I'm waking up every morning stressed out because menial tasks that you could do yourself, you want me to do, and you're mad because I don't do it the way you want it to be done. If you want something done your way, then do it for yourself. So she's like, whatever, and goes to sleep. So then it's the next morning, and we see Jason and Jasmine in the kitchen, and Jason's like, how you feeling? And I think Summer walks up, and she's like, I was good until me and Silas got into an argument. And Jason is like, well, I think it's because y'all both have different ways you think a marriage should go. He has one way, you have another. You just got to merge it together. But then when Jasmine said, I'm tired, the look in her eyes gave very much like the end is near. I know they've been doing promotion together, and Jasmine's been, because I think they're still together, because she's been underneath posts about her husband and stuff like that. But I feel as though if they continue on, eventually this marriage is going to end in at least 2 to 3 years. Because Silas is starting to give kind of like Ike Turner energy. And that's not a good look, sir. It's not a good look. So she ends up making him breakfast. Like, we see her take her time, and it looked like she was making him a breakfast bowl, which I would have gladly ate. So she brings it up to him while he's working, and he only eats a little bit of it. And she's like, you're really not going to eat this? He was like, I don't really like, I'm not good with starch and with bread and stuff. And she's like, potato are not bread. He was like, you know what I mean, like starch. So he's looking at her and she's looking at him, and you can tell that she's getting increasingly annoyed. And then he says something So like, no, he doesn't say anything, but Jasmine says something as she grabs the bowl, like all that work for nothing. And she looks at him, and then in her confessional, she's like, I heard the first year of marriage is the hardest. I've never heard that. Out of all of like my friends who are married and like my parents and other like their friends, they always say the first year of marriage is the best because you're still in the honeymoon phase. They were like around year 7 is when like, it seems like everybody's marriage gets tested if it's a normal, healthy marriage and ain't nobody like out here cheating or being abusive or disrespectful. But I was just like, the first year of marriage is supposed to be very blissful. So the fact that y'all are struggling like this, that's an indication that it's time to go. That's why I told y'all she should have left that man after after they opened up the world. She should have chucked the deuces like everybody else. So that's the end, you guys. Remember to be bravely authentic. Hop down in the comments below and give me your thoughts, as well as if you like what you heard, subscribe. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.